Shalom everybody. My name is Rabbi Dr. Itzhak Shapira. Recently I've made a video for you in highlighting the great danger and risk of the decision of 143 nations who decided to vote in the UN meetings in favor of establishing a Palestinian state, while Hamas and other terror organizations still hold the captives even to these days. People have been asking me those questions, and today I want to provide you some answers, specific facts, because most of the things that you read and see in the national news, in the local media, are tainted with anti-Semitism, with false information, and frankly, blatant lies. So what are the facts? I've been asked the question, can't we support a Palestinian state and at the same time be against Hamas? Many nations claim that they against Hamas, they are for Israel, but they are also for the Palestinian people. The answer is, it is impossible. Let me explain to you the fact. Israel have left the Gaza Strip in 2005. They left Gaza. They let Gaza and the people there, the Palestinians, self-govern themselves. Who did they choose to put as their leaders? In a democratic elections that Israel have no hand in. The Hamas themselves were selected by the people. Know the facts. It is the people of Gaza and the Palestinian or so-called Palestinians in the West Bank that have chosen to put the Hamas in leadership. Hamas has been chosen by the people. Nobody else have chosen them. What about the Palestinian Authority? You see, today Abu Mazen, the Prime Minister of the Palestinian Authority, decided to postpone the elections in the West Bank. And you must ask yourself the question, why did he choose to postpone those elections? The truth to be told is in surveys that have been made again and again in the West Bank. It showed that over 90% of the people would vote for Hamas. Abu Mazen decided to postpone it because the people in the West Bank, not in Gaza, are, for the large majority, are for the Hamas, are with the Hamas, and they are themselves Hamas operative. Understand this. There is no distinction between the Palestinian Authority and between those who are in Gaza. When October the 7th massacre took place, did the Palestinian Authority have done anything to condemn what has taken place? The answer is no. There was no condemnation message from the Palestinian Authority. On the contrary, they justified what happened by occupation of Israel. What occupation? Gaza could have been Singapore with hundreds of millions of dollars. But what did they spend the money on? They spent it on building tunnels of terrors from Rafah, Gaza to Rafah, Egypt, to smuggle money, weapons, build tunnels of terrors, drugs, you name it, anything except to help the Palestinian people. And who is the one who chose those people? It is the people of Gaza themselves who have chosen. Understand the facts. When October the 7th took place, on the other side, in Judea and Samaria, everybody went and shouted, Allahu Akbar, our God is great. And they give candy to the children like a day of celebration, not just in Gaza, but also in the West Bank. And lastly, let me leave you with one more thing to consider. Today, Sinwar himself has no care for his own people. Absolutely zero care for the Palestinian people. He used them as human shield to protect himself. Hamas doesn't care about the people. They were elected and now they are in full power and full control. People ask me the question, is everybody Hamas? And the answer is, for the most part, yes. How do we know it? When the hostages, a small set of hostages were released, and they asked them the question, where were you? They were in a regular people home, locked up. What kind of people? Let's call them innocent people, as Hamas claim and the Western world claims. What kind of people would lock up men, women, and children? The truth needs to be told. Gaza is Hamas. Palestinian Authority is Hamas. Hamas has taken over. But we should know that the truth will always prevail. Today, the International Court House in Hague, Holland, tried to say that they want to put a warrant both for Sinwar and Benjamin Netanyahu. How ironic that in October 7, men, women, children, Holocaust survivors have been raped, have been burnt, have been beheaded and been cooked in the oven, and the world have forgotten. I say to you today, know the fact, know the truth. Israel is fighting for its own survival. And for those nations, not just in Latin America, but in the entire world, I would say, if Israel loses this war, you are next. Israel fighting the war for all of human race. And you better pray that Israel and the Jewish people will win. Because this is not a fight between two groups of people. It's a fight between the God of Israel and every satanic and demonic force. Now, when Israel decided to go to southern Gaza, to the city called Rafah, the world went up in arms and said, "What are you doing, Israel?" Let me explain to you the fact. And those, friends, are the true facts that I encourage you to know and check for yourself. The city of Rafah is made out of two different cities, Rafah, Gaza, and Rafah, Egypt. While all the rockets were fired from the north, it was the weapons that continue to be smuggled from the south, from South Israel, from the border of Egypt. The weapons kept on coming from the border, kept on supplying Hamas with all that they need to survive for months and maybe years. while holding the hostages in Rafah. How dare the world tell Israel that they cannot close down Rafah? Now the question is, why did Israel did not do it before? Why did Israel did not went to Rafah? The answer is stunning. It is the world, the entire international community, who restricted Israel from going to Rafah. Today, Israel understands, after what happened in Hag, seeing the blatant anti-Semitism all throughout the world, that we cannot trust upon the nations. We can trust one another, the remnant, and the God of Israel. Our hope is found in our Messiah, who is yet to return, but he is returning soon, as we have seen what happened in Iran. Judgment is near. My message to all the nations, and for all who stand on the sideline today, and for all who can't make their mind, judgment is coming upon the world and upon the nation. Take today the stance with Jacob, stand with the Jewish people, stand for the truth. And yes, if you are a Christian, I do have a word for you. Jesus was not a Palestinian. He lamented over Jerusalem with the words, "Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how I long to gather you like a hen that gather her chicks. You were unwilling, therefore you will not see me until you say, welcome in the name of the Lord." One of the leaders, in his justification for holding a position for Palestinian state, said, what would Jesus have done? Let me tell you what Jesus would have done. It says in the book of Isaiah 63, in their troubles he is troubled, and in their afflictions he is afflicted. What would he do? He would go to the tunnels and he hug each one of the hostages, and he will cry with them, and he will give his own life and blood for them. Shame on you as a Christian to say, what would Jesus do? Jesus is not from the UN or from the Red Cross. He's from Israel, and he's a Jew, the best Jew, just like us. And what he is doing right, even in this moment, is lamenting and weeping upon the Jewish nation and the Jewish souls. Don't forget it. Jesus is in Israel's side, and anybody who call upon his name, who does not stand with us, upon you, he will say, get away from me, workers of lawlessness. This is the warning from the heavens.